Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to NerdDum's Levels of Ridiculousness podcast. I'm your host, Ozpin, and I'm joined by my co-host and buddy, DK.
George, happy people.
Levels of Ridiculousness, or lore, is a show dedicated to our conversations on all things nerd. We touch on a wide variety of subjects, news, and feature a different main discussion topic every week. This week's main discussion topic is our Justice League debriefing, because we just saw Justice League, people, less than an hour ago.
I loved the fudge out of it.
We're not going to go too crazy as far as talking about it right now,
I
but
know.
Suffice to say, I have, possibly due to your implications that I am being that way, I have come off relatively negative towards Justice League. I don't mean to come off negative towards Justice League. I believe it was last show, where I tried to make a point very clearly that I'm not forming an opinion yet.
Yeah.
I refuse to form an opinion until I see it. That being said,
It's a good way to be.
It is still fresh on my mind, so I'm still coming off of the
high.
The new movie high.
Yeah.
But it was an enjoyable film. We will probably get into spoilers, but there's almost not a lot to spoil about the movie.
Yes, but this is your aforementioned spoiler alert.
Yeah. It is quite likely we will talk about spoilers for any of the DC Extended Universe films.
I guarantee there will be spoilers.
Yeah, with relation to Justice League in particular. But before we even get near that, let's go ahead and jump right into NerdDum updates. And I believe you have something to talk about concerning your desktop.
Yes, my
It is a desktop, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We record the audio on a laptop.
It's a little bigger than a desktop. It's
a desktop. It's a gaming PC.
Yeah, it's a nice PC.
Yeah, it cost me a pretty penny.
It is a tower.
Yes.
I would describe that as a tower.
It broke, sadly, and apparently it deleted its own operating system on its own.
I had guessed that's what it was.
Yeah,
I was
the way it was
probably lost the OS.
Yeah. So essentially, he had to force install an OS because it wasn't even there enough. Nothing. It was completely empty.
Yeah.
It was a complete wipe. And I was lucky because not even an hour before it happened, I backed up everything onto an external hard drive. I bought 30 minutes before that.
Yeah, I was with you. That
It was the luck of God, because it had all my video transitions, all my editing software, it had everything. Mm-hmm. And I was able to pull everything and put it into safety, except for some things got corrupted. Yeah,
you had an external hard drive. It is an external hard drive. Yeah, yes. It was like a black box.
It is a black box.
When the plane that was the desktop crashed,
yes,
we still managed to save a great deal of material.
And I'm leaving it plugged in because it has an auto backup function.
Oh, really? So it does everything it downloads everything you have on there automatically?
That I put into a certain file that allows.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
I set it up, so that's why I leave it plugged in.
Cool.
Other than that,
that's a good segue.
It cost me like $85 to fix it. Just for that,
yeah,
not including everything else, including buying and
a
lot.
That sucks.
Yeah,
but
did not have that money.
I mean, that is a good segue into our second update, which is the video files for the last two Fun Facts videos were corrupted and lost.
Yes.
Corrupted? Is that appropriate, or just lost?
They were lost.
They were just lost.
They were a shell of their former self.
Yeah.
They are gone. So
when you lose the desktop and you lose the operating system and you lose all of the data, that was one of the things that wasn't saved.
Yeah.
We had it on a thumb drive, but the thumb drive got corrupted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a lost in translation fail on us. But it
was a bummer.
Yeah.
But I did Captain America's Up now.
And you did it with pictures, slideshow?
Pictures and segues that I was making as it got corrupted. I am going to add more segues and stuff like that into the fun facts, more cuts,
I liked it.
moving segues, transitions that are more pleasant, eased in.
I think it was a cool experiment, but I like seeing you on camera.
It failed significantly so far. So far. But every failure is still a little success because you learn from it.
What do you mean specifically as far as it failed?
It's not liked very well.
Oh, not a lot of views.
Not a lot of views. Not a lot of.
I wouldn't even worry about.
It's not popular.
I wouldn't even worry about that.
Also, I personally
do whichever one you enjoy doing the most.
Personally, I find it weird, and it's easier to edit. By far easier to edit. It's just different, but I don't like it.
Yeah, My advice is do whichever one you prefer.
I'm going to be on camera.
But if you want my input, you bring energy to the video when you are on screen.
I'm unique. I'm weird.
Your body language is unique.
Yeah. Also, I'm missing a tooth, so I put just a tad bit of
you got some
redneck
character.
and adorable.
You got some character.
I'll put I'm as adorable as a redneck because I'm a redneck that's adorable.
We've Dishonored.
Yes, that'll be coming up Wednesday.
We're going to post that the same day as this podcast, correct?
Yes.
All right, so anyone who's interested.
Part 2, final.
Yeah, it's the second part of the first sit-down where I played Dishonored with DK, but I was the one holding the controller.
Uh-huh.
We did 2 hours of that.
3 hours, technically.
Yeah.
It's discontinued because of time constraints and prior life.
Yeah.
Life got involved.
Schedule fails.
Yeah.
But, I'm down with that. And, frankly, I couldn't get into the story. And I was trying, man. I was trying hard. I could not get into the story if we're talking about it. But for those who are interested, I, Ozpin, play 2 hours worth of Dishonored. The first episode's been up for a while. The second episode will be posted the same day as this podcast.
I thought it was already up.
Yeah, that's actually why it's not up right now. We both thought it had already been posted.
Nope, not even.
Not quite. But that is a correction we will be making soon. Do you have anything else as far as channel updates that you'd like to mention?
Channel updates? No, nothing else has really changed. I'm going to. This is the update. I believe I'm going to start doing a live stream Monday nights.
Overwatch?
No, just random.
Just random games?
Yeah, just let's play an hour or two.
Cool.
Of just a live stream. It'll be on here about 8 o'clock Central.
Cool. Yeah, I know we attempted that once.
Yeah,
well, you attempted it, and I was here for it.
We got drunk, and you were in it.
I was.
Bad liquor is not good liquor.
we got a particular.
That was a double entendre. Bad liquor is not good liquor.
We tried.
Horrible cheap liquor.
Yeah, with citrus in it. It was awful.
Yeah, we still have half of it left, and we're just refused to drink it.
Now, to be clear for the listeners, I'm not really a drinker.
No.
I don't like alcohol. I actually kind of despise it, but I'll drink socially. Specifically, I will drink socially with DK, because we like having a drink and hanging out and playing video games.
Chilling out.
Yeah. It helps us unwind, and frankly, we enjoy getting goofy.
I can only drink on my days off because I can't have liquor. I'm an armed guard, so there's a certain amount of time period where I can't have liquor before my shift.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't. That, of course, makes sense, but I didn't know that.
It's about 24 hours. I think it's like 22, 21 hours, but I don't do it a full day before.
It takes a lot of liquor to get to you, though.
Yeah, and they just want it out of your system completely, because your system can.
Well, of course, yes, but
malfunction the next day.
I'm just saying, for the record, it's like I've seen you drink a consistent amount and not be
about a liter of alcohol
too much
to get drunk.
Too much, but we're talking about alcohol as opposed to NerdDum LoR.
Jim Bean's honey, people. We're not sponsored, but go and get some. It's delicious.
So we can go ahead and get into what we've been up to.
You go first.
I'm continuing to watch Ruby and the Orville, both of which are quite good still.
I tried to.
I'm just probably going to keep saying the same thing over and over. Of Orville is great. Ruby is great. Everybody go watch these shows. Pass the torch.
I did get one episode deeper into Orville.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get there. My update. Well, first of all, I'd like to watch Ruby, but the art gives me
the art bothers you.
The shaking, like your empty, bottomless stomach feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it does.
I don't have anything like that as a problem.
I'll get drunk and watch it with you eventually.
That stands as the plan.
Yes. Okay, enough of that.
Not to make it creepy, but it's like, I'm going to get DK drunk one of these days, and we're going to sit down and we're going to get hardcore and watch Ruby.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I'm not sure if my audio is showing up. Anyway. Let's see.
I watched The Punisher.
You watched The Punisher. How is it?
The whole Netflix series?
I have not seen any of the Marvel Netflix shows.
John Bernthal was perfect for The Punisher.
I love him from The Walking Dead.
Yes, he was amazing. He is perfect for it. I mean,
I know he was in Fury.
Was he in Fury?
Yeah, that tank movie.
Oh, okay. With Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, it was Shia LaBeouf. It was Shia LaBeouf,
Brad
wasn't
Pitt?
it? That's the last movie I can think of that Shia LaBeouf was in. Yeah, Brad Pitt was in it too.
You know, Shia LaBeouf did not shower when he was in that tank doing the movie, recording it. He's a method actor. It turns out like John Bernthal that played Punisher is also a method actor. He had to play the Punisher stay. Dude. He had to stay in character.
Who's the guy that plays Merle?
One person you do not stay in character for is the Punisher.
Who's the guy that plays Merle?
Merle? Oh, I don't know.
He's also... Oh
he's in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, he's Star-Lord's dad. God, I'm blanking on the name.
But yeah, he stays in a character too.
He's a method actor, and those guys are kind of famous for messing themselves up during shooting.
There's quite a few of them.
There's a scene in the first season of Walking Dead where Merle is chained to the roof.
Yeah.
Yondu. He's Yondu in the movie Guardians. He's Yondu. But he plays Merle in The Walking Dead for the first few seasons. And there's a scene where he's chained to the roof and he's hitting his head on the ground. And he is really doing that. He is messing himself up. Because Merle had been up there for a few days. He was getting dehydrated.
Losing his stuff.
He was hallucinating. I have so much love and respect for actors like that. Of course, I'm kind of big on film and acting.
Yeah.
But that surprises me about Shia LaBeouf, though. I didn't know that about Shia LaBeouf.
I would not want to do anything with Shia LaBeouf.
I am slowly beginning to collect some respect for Shia LaBeouf, whereas I hated him for a long time.
I grew up with him in Even Steven, the Disney show.
I still hate him.
I know.
Hated.
Okay, so you did 2, so I'll do 2 right off the bat. I've been playing Argist of War, Agorist of War 0. Sorry, I used to call it Argist of War.
It might be Argist. I don't know.
It's a PS3 game. I started playing it on PlayStation Now, and it's amazing. I missed it so much. It's one of those grid-based RPGs where it's sprites instead of anything else. Mm-hmm. I just love them. Now it's your turn for your
It looks interesting. Did you say you were going to do 2?
I just did 2.
Did you do 2?
Punisher and Argist War.
Punisher and Argist. Okay, cool. Well, I did Orville and Ruby. Every time.
Every single time.
Until the shows go on break.
And
I binge watched the first 2 seasons of Rick and Morty. I liked the show, and it's easier. It's certainly easier to binge watch a show when it's one season is probably less than 20 episodes of 30 minutes each.
Yeah.
More like 26 minutes each. It is a very interesting show. I don't really... You watch Rick and Morty, right?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I'm not...
Pickle Rick!
I love Pickle Rick. Not in season 2, but I've seen clips.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I don't know what to make of the show. It is strangely dark.
And yeah. It'll mess with your mind.
Yeah. And
the Meepsies episode. Existence is pain. Existence is pain.
We just want to die. We secretly all want to. I made my friend's contact photo on Meepsies. It's Meeseeks.
Meeseeks. Okay.
Mr. Meeseeks. Which I'm frankly
just
I'm
be glad
still,
I know it's an M.
Yeah. But whatever. Yeah, I binge watched the first 2 episodes. That I like it. It throws the moral ambiguity of the show throws me hard. Throws me really hard.
That's what she said.
I'm not sure I'm frankly not sure who to root for sometimes. You know?
Yeah, it gets
I don't like Rick, but I like Rick.
I don't like Morty, but I love Morty. He's annoying and endearing at the same time. It's really weird.
It's weird. I don't know who to root for.
So you saw them bury themselves from another dimension.
Yes, I did. I saw that.
Yeah,
Spoilers,
and just assimilate into... We've said spoilers earlier about that. Just assume everything's going to be a spoiler.
Yeah. This is a open discussion. We try to avoid swearing as much as possible, as well as some spoilers. We'll go into what we feel we need to. But beyond Rick and Morty, what else do you have?
I started reading. Instead of, I watched the anime, and I read the manga of in a different world with a smartphone.
Yes, you recommended that. I
started reading the light novel again.
Did you recommend the anime to me?
I recommended the manga. The manga is good. I started reading the light novel. I started it, but I stopped because I was reading so many, and it just got lost in the pile.
Yeah.
Started reading again. It is. I'm in the hundreds of the chapters I started 2 days ago.
Is it that same book where he starts beating the rabbits?
No.
Okay.
That's a manga, and that's different, and that was dark.
I had problems.
He did that for experience points, too.
You gave me problems last night.
I didn't mean to.
We just had dominoes. Like, we were watching YouTube last night, and it just... one thing after another of horrible... But yeah, we were watching YouTube last night, and a couple of things kind of set up each other. And by the end of the night, I was just like, oh, those poor animals.
I did not mean to. I did not know. It was YouTube videos. I didn't know.
I was having issues.
I was like, oh, look at the cute deer, and
Oh. But yeah.
Look at all those chickens.
I love that little girl so much.
It's like, honey,
but
look at our chickens.
But in another world with your smartphone.
Yeah, it's picking up. It's really great. He just became, spoilers, a king.
Of course he did. That happens all the time.
He already has, 5 wives. 6. There's 8 total.
What is it with you and non-monogamy?
I'm fine with monogamy. It's just a lot of other world novels usually go, because it's usually taken us back into the medieval times. There's not monogamy.
Here's your harem. No, literally, here's your harem. Here's 12 wives.
Well, the thing is
legal.
That back then, royalty used to have a wife and mistresses to make sure they had an heir.
That's not the reason it's in the show.
No, it's not. But they use that reasoning, and that's why it's in all Isekai novels. Is because it's medieval times. And
even in the ones where he's not going back in time, he's going to an alternate universe, sometimes another planet.
There's a lot of light novels I'm reading that are not where the guy just flat out just rejects all women and ends up with one solid woman at the end.
That's the kind of show for me.
And I'm not against those. I love Isekai. I like the game tag to the light novels, to where it's like a menu and he has experience points and everything's defined.
Don't get me wrong. I love romance. Romance is probably my favorite anime genre. I like harems. I just like harems where he picks a girl. It is so annoying when you get to the end of a harem anime and he's like, yeah, I'm just not going to pick.
Yes, that is annoying.
I'm like, continue to play the field and not give the audience any closure. Just in case we want to make a sequel later.
Okay, but at least in this light novel of the smartphone light novel, he doesn't have to pick because he has them all.
Oh, they all lined up. That cheats in a completely different way.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't have to pick because they're all already his, which is weird and twisted on a total different dimension.
In its defense, and in my opinion, it was common in place back then, in medieval times. So
well,
it's
I'm not knocking
that
the
weird.
story. For all I know, the story is fantastic.
It is. It's amazing.
But yeah, I've still got. I watched 9, the animated movie 9.
Any good?
Surprisingly dark. Really dark. Like
I could tell it was going to be dark.
Multiple times. I've seen part of the movie, but I've never seen the whole thing all the way through. It is on Netflix, people, by the way. 9. Just the number.
Don't go too deep into it. But what were your thoughts on it?
It was dark. You derailed my thought process.
Yes. Dance minion.
There were the movie's so dark, I'm not sure how to even talk about it. It follows a bunch of sock puppets.
Yes.
Post
already out. Nope.
It's post like Terminator apocalypse, where the machines have actively gassed and killed all the humans.
So it's let the body hit the floor type music. Sure, playing in the background.
It's a good, sweet little movie.
Sweet, sweet.
It is dark as all get out, but it is certainly my kind of movie, of course. I'm a big fan of movies like Coraline, Paranorman, Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favorite movies. Corpse Princess, Corpse Bride. All of which ironically related to Tim Burton. But I liked it. It's a great little film.
Okay.
9. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
I do not, because work has dried up everything and I didn't have my computer.
Well, at least you are managing to get some leisure activities in there.
Barely, but I'm doing it slowly.
Then we can go ahead and hop over to Nerd News. And I believe you have something to talk about GameStop.
Not so much GameStop as Secret of Mana.
I have no idea what you're talking about. You mentioned GameStop to me earlier. Explain this.
Okay, so Secret of Mana is going to have limited physical copies. I'm a big connoisseur of. I like having the physical copy of games.
Yes, I refuse to have digital copies of games myself.
I have several digital copies of games like Final Fantasy 11. No, Final Fantasy 12. Sorry. But the reason for that is because I bought the collector's edition of 15, and the ending of 15 I didn't like very much, and I just refused to go to a store to buy another Final Fantasy. I refused to. But Secret of Mana is a game from my childhood.
I have no idea what that is.
It's a new one. It's from Square Enix. It started when I was a kid in PlayStation.
Okay.
I think before that, and it was on the Super Nintendo.
So it's like Final Fantasy. It's been going for a while.
It's been going for a very long time.
Okay.
It's one of the long-running. It's a long-running series by Square Enix before they were called SquareSoft and Square and whatnot.
Okay.
And they're going to have limited physical copies because of GameStop, because they're GameStop exclusive, and GameStop only going to stock a certain amount.
Okay, so
but first of all,
let me get this straight. Hold on, let me get this straight. So Square Enix produces this game, and it produces it as a GameStop exclusive.
Yep.
And then GameStop, having this game be their exclusive, then chooses to only carry a select number of the game.
Yes.
This is an attempt to increase the game's rarity, if I'm understanding the market.
Physical copy, yes.
Yes, if I'm understanding the marketing tactic here. But why wouldn't Square Enix just, if GameStop is refusing to carry it in mass in a way that would make a profit for Square Enix, why does Square Enix not then take it to a different provider and have someone else carry it as well?
Contract.
Yes, but GameStop has to hold up their end of the contract.
They are.
Carry enough.
They're doing the bare minimum.
Oh, okay. That's
on top of that. It's coming out on a lot of systems. It's coming out on the Switch. It's coming on the PC. It's coming out on the consoles, There's going to be one for every console, but they're only doing just enough, just barely enough. They don't. It's
to
like
keep it in demand for as long as possible, that they don't have to lower the price as quickly as usual.
I hate GameStop. The reason why I hate GameStop is because I've witnessed them open used new games, making them used so they could sell them for more, because I
don't understand that.
New games, when they come out, they're a flat price. They don't increase. They're $59.99 before taxes, period.
Okay.
Used games, depending on the rarity of the game, the CD, can go higher. But because it's a collector's item at that point.
Okay.
But the new one, you can't just jack up the price because it's set. It's a regulation.
I see. Okay.
But if it's used,
that would be like vintage games only, though.
No, it's they did it with the PlayStation 3 game not too long ago. I forget which one it was. They did it for Dark Chronicles or Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud, if you're in America like we are.
I don't know what that is.
It's a game they did with Dark Cloud 2. Dark Chronicles 2. It's a game I played on PlayStation 2 for a very long time. I saw it for like $44. There was some still new ones when I was growing up and I saw this. And I saw games. I switched over to Game Trade, which is my personal favorite store, because of GameStop. I saw GameStop opening new copies to make used.
That's messed up.
Yeah, and they've been caught doing this.
It's
for a very
weird.
long time.
I maintain that would be a thing for vintage games. That's weird that could apply to new age games. But of course, you know more about it than me.
Yeah,
you almost worked at Game Trade, didn't you?
I worked there for like 3 days as an intern.
That's fine. You got hired.
I got offered it back by one of the guys. I'm not going to say who.
That's fine.
I was already working security and making more than they could offer me at that point.
So was what I was saying a second ago about the strategy for what's the game called? Secret of what?
No, Secret of Mana.
Secret of Mana was the way that I worded it. Is that correct? Because that was the reason. That was the reason why I worded it like that. I wanted you to correct me.
It could be a take on it, but I personally believe that they're going downhill. GameStop. They're not doing well.
GameStop sucks.
They're losing profit. They treat their employees like crap. They punish them for selling too many new games instead of used games. Because GameStop makes used games, they get 100% profit.
Uh-huh.
New games, they have to get a certain amount to the publisher. And that's why they do that new to use also.
Right.
Because if they can make 100% profit, not worry about it, they will. It's greedy.
I liked GameStop back when they sold vintage games.
Yeah,
Now I no longer care. Yeah. I like game stores where I can walk in and buy a Nintendo 64 game. That's my kind of game store. Yeah. That's my kind of game store.
It's the reason why I've been going there for 10 plus years.
It's a nice little store.
And that's basically sums it up. It comes out February 15th, if you're wondering. Legend of Mana. It's a remake. Just so you guys know.
Talk about the game a little bit.
That's going to be in limited quantities. It's a remake of
Is the game worth the trouble?
It depends on which remake it is of. If it's the first one, then definitely guaranteed. If it's, I forget the name of it, but I doubt they're gonna make a remake of that because it was like the fourth one. But I believe so. I believe it's from the pictures I've seen. It's one of the older ones. It's worth it.
Okay, consider that a news thing. It's like Secret of Mana remakes coming out.
Yep, February 15th, 2018.
And it's apparently going to force you to shop at GameStop and be a pain in the butt to get a hold of.
You can, by the way, which is my recommendation, buy off the PSN, the Nintendo Network, the Steam. Don't buy the hard copy from GameStop. I'm going to give them money. It
took me so long to warm up to purely digital video games because I've lost systems before.
Yeah.
What do you do if you have a system stolen? Everything's backed up online.
Yeah.
I didn't know that for a while.
It's off of a account you use. Like my PSN, I can just log in that to another system and just download a game.
Yes, that fascinates me.
Yeah,
that makes things so much easier because then if my PlayStation 4 breaks, I get everything that I had on it right back if I buy a new system.
Yeah, or if your system gets stolen with all your games, if you had digital games, you're good.
Yeah. And they also introduced they introduced a new platform for point earnage, where the points can be turned into PlayStation Network currency.
Yeah, so every 10,000...
that you earn when you play your video games. And I'm like, yes, thank you.
Every trophy you get that's silver or above, you get a certain amount of points for silver, gold, or platinum.
It's 1,000 or 10,000?
You need 10,000 to get $10.
That is spectacular.
Yes.
You know how much you can buy on PlayStation Network for $10?
A lot.
There's a lot on there,
especially
that you can
discounts.
Get for $10. That is, I don't know if you have to pay to be a member of this program.
No, you don't. You just have to sign up to it.
That is great.
I'm signed up for it.
That is exactly what I needed, but it's exactly what they needed to incorporate into this.
In fact, I was signed up for it and forgot I was signed up for it and earned a bunch of points.
I mean, it's almost a counter to microtransactions.
Yeah.
It's like if people have a problem with microtransactions, this is one of the solutions. It's like, yes, we have microtransactions, but we also have this, where if you play enough, you earn your money back.
But there's a difference because that's game versus creator of the system. The system, the OS and Sony has this what it runs off of. But let's say you use
that's a distinction to make. Sony and it is PlayStation exclusively right now, right?
Yes.
Then that being said, PlayStation and Sony are the ones doing this as opposed to the game creators who are doing the microtransactions. So basically, the guys that make your system, they're okay. The guys that make your games, they still suck.
Some of them.
We're about to jump right into that, but first I'll go ahead and do my story. Are we done?
Go ahead. Go.
Okay. I'm going to talk about the fact that despite us having just seen Justice League, my story is Justice League is projected to lose between $50 to $100 million.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Very much so.
It's not that bad.
It's a good movie to me.
Bad.
We're not going to get into the movie. That's our main discussion.
That's our main discussion, but I'm bringing up the fact that it is losing so much money.
And I blame some of that on the Batman vs. Superman, and also, but after that, there were some blockbusters. A lot of people didn't.
I liked Batman vs. Superman.
I did too.
I don't know why people didn't like it so much. Like, I had problems with Suicide Squad, but I still loved Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad made a lot of money.
I would sit down and watch the heck out of Suicide Squad again. But, I don't know. I like Batman vs. Superman. It seems like people have
I think it's the critics. The critics got to it.
You want to blame the critics, but I'm a critic.
No, I'm not saying it's just the critics. I'm saying, but they were detrimental to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not to say these movies don't have flaws. The Martha scene, that's worth making fun of. I liked it when I saw the movie.
Yeah.
It's not like I laughed at that. A lot of people are like, yeah, I laughed at that in the theater. And I'm like, I doubt you did, but maybe you did. If you did, then you weren't becoming involved enough in the film.
Yeah, that's not the film's fault.
In that moment, well...
It is, but it depends. Fault. It depends on the mindset when you go to see the movie.
Yes, your mindset when you see the movie, and we've discussed this before. I've talked about this before, where you talked about being a critic for reviewing movies for a while.
Which I'm glad I got out of.
But you'd go into a movie, and you'd be thinking about it from the critical perspective, which can hinder your enjoyment of the film.
Severely. I didn't enjoy movies for years.
And what I said before was, you have to be able to put that away and still let yourself be engrossed in the movie. It's when you're... My primary issues with a movie come from when I am engrossed in the movie, and the movie itself takes me out of it. You know, something that the movie does causes me to forget that I'm watching a movie. It's like... Or a more accurate statement might be, so it does something that reminds me that I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
You know?
A glaring flaw, a glaring kick.
Yes, when I'm watching a film, I should be engrossed in the story. I should not be thinking about the fact I'm in a theater. I should be thinking about what's going through their minds right now. What's about to happen. I should be in the story. And when films do things that pull me out, That's when I have problems with films. That's my breaking point. But yeah, Justice League.
It should be doing better, in my personal opinion.
It's not that bad. But it is projected to lose between $50 and $100 million.
I'll say it's a good movie. It's not a great movie.
I don't know what the film's budget was. I think it was like $350 million.
I do not know. I did not look it up.
I'm not going to bother to look it up, so take what I say with a grain of rice. But that's about a third of its budget, yeah. I think, at least, if you're taking marketing into account. But we can jump into our top story, which is very heavily related to what we talked about before with microtransactions and PlayStation.
Battlefront's failure.
Battlefront 2 and the fact that the fan base for that game
stuck up the finger towards all of them.
Raised their middle fingers in unison in a way that only the company could, register, in that they withheld their money.
In England, they gave them the V.
It's like, basically, they said F you in the only way that the game developers could understand, in that
pocketbook.
We're not giving you any money.
Yep.
We're not doing it.
On Black Friday, there was just this massive sale for everything, and Battlefront was always there.
Destiny's having a lot of problems with microtransactions right now, too, aren't they?
No, they fixed majority of that.
Said they fixed it.
Said
they fixed it.
The community says it. They fixed it.
So I may actually be talking about Battlefront, because those stories kind of blended in my head a little bit.
As a Destiny player, and a Destiny 2 player, they fixed it as part of the community.
Okay.
They fixed it to a good degree. It's not... You don't need to do it. They had problems with the PC version, where they hiked up the prices of the Bright, which are these... basically you can earn XP and unlock these bright engrams that give you gear and shaders and all this stuff. Well, they hiked up the price along with a correction they made that made it to where there was no fix whatsoever.
Then is it Battlefront that I'm thinking of, where I heard the story online, where they were saying that, we recognize that the game and the microtransactions are not functioning the way that we'd like them to, so we will be working to correct that.
That was Battlefront.
That was Battlefront, or was that Destiny?
That was Battlefront.
Okay, I don't want to be wrong, because they were literally saying the game is not performing the way we want it to, despite the fact that we designed the game to perform this way to make more money.
Yes, that's Battlefront, exactly.
Is it Destiny? I might be thinking of the... I hate saying this. I might be thinking of the Destiny with the XP thing?
Yeah,
they were doing? I think that's what I'm thinking.
That's the bright engrams I was explaining. You get a certain amount of XP. Your character would normally level up. Instead, you get a bright engram because you're at max level.
Okay.
And the PC, they're having problems with that, but they're fixing that now. They're fixed it to a degree.
I love the way they worded it. You know?
But the one you're thinking about is Battlefront. Battlefront is the one that designed their whole system to where to unlock these characters you need hours and hours of play.
Yeah, but the heroes?
The heroes, but you can speed it up with microtransactions. If you don't, you're just not going to play as them if you don't have the time.
Pay to win.
Yep, it is literally pay to win. And
it's disgusting.
That's why everybody hit them in the pocketbooks, and they're going to lose almost $300 million off of it.
Yep. Good.
That's what they deserve.
Good.
Because the gaming community decided, we're not going to stand for this anymore. You've gone too far with the microtransactions.
I am so proud of people these last few days. I'm so proud of people these last few days. I'm tapping the desk and DK's giving me a look like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm excited because people are rallying. They might not even realize that's what they're doing, but they are saying no. They are putting their foot down. It's like, we do not have to accept things the way they are.
Yeah, we have a voice. We're a community. We're a family.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong.
But more to the point,
I love Star Wars. I hope the game is amazing. I'm just not going to give them my money. I'm going to wait till I find a used copy and then play it.
I'm not going to give it then.
No, because I'm not going to give them a single penny, but I'll give Game Trade a penny.
I played the real Battlefront game.
I played Battlefront 2.
I played Battlefront 1
the
and
original.
2. They were spectacular games. They were great games for their time. Because the thing is, back in the day when we had PlayStation 2s and we had cartridge gaming, those games had to be good when they were released.
Yep.
Now, people can release video games and be like, oh, don't worry, the game's not finished, but we're going to fix it later. Please give me $60 and then pay me $10 more later for the update once we fixed it.
That's already on the disc.
That's happened.
Yep.
I don't remember which game.
Remember when the DLCs used to be on the disc?
A game was... Well, that was what initially really got me angry.
Yeah.
Was that... So I'm paying you to unlock things that are already on the disc.
No!
How about you give me the complete game off the assembly line like you're supposed to?
Yeah.
But when they have released games and they've said, the game is incomplete, buy it anyway, and then pay us more later to get the complete version. Or worse. What was the situation with No Man's Sky? Let me release this.
Promise everything to you and only give you a small little rock.
What's the game I'm thinking of where they released the game and it was essentially non-playable?
That is, I believe, No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky was...
That's what I was thinking of No Man's Sky. But
you could explore, but there were supposed to be habitations. You're supposed to be able to meet other people and do all this stuff, and none of it was there.
It has happened several times where they have released games. The games are incomplete.
Yeah. And
they still expect you to pay full price for it. And whether or not they expect you to pay more for the repaired version, it's ridiculous.
Yep.
And frankly, I am so proud of basically the gamer community, because as gamers and as nerds, we do kind of have this habit of acceptance of betrayal.
Yeah,
we kind of have this.
Be that way.
We kind of have this silent. I won't say sheep. We're not sheeple. But we have this kind of silent majority, just kind of acceptance thing going on, where if something that happens that we don't really like, kind of as an internet community, not just gamers, but an internet community as a whole, if something happens that we aren't exactly happy with, we suck it up and we move on. We ignore the problem until it goes away.
Not anymore. Not with this one.
I am so proud of the fact that we're like, no, screw you.
Yeah.
Screw all of you. Make me a good game. And it also shows in Battlefront's 2 sales.
Yep.
Because
Very much so.
The game isn't selling. Because people know it's terrible.
The first one was literally a beta.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's 4 maps.
The game is 4 maps. It is essentially, they released a beta test version of a video game, especially when you compare it to Battlefront 2, which is one of the best games I've ever played.
The original.
Yeah, Battlefront 2. The original Battlefront 2.
Because Battlefront 2...
I don't acknowledge the new one as Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
But they 4 maps?
Yeah.
And
it came out with 4 maps.
It was a movie tie. They are movie tie-in games. I've touched on this before. The Battlefront games are movie tie-in games for the Star Wars, the new Disney Star Wars movies, which the movies are spectacular. But movie tie-in games, and it doesn't matter what it's for, almost always universally suck.
Yes, and again, canon should not be an issue here or a thing.
They mentioned canon?
Because, the Battlefront company says, we couldn't have all these skins for Darth Vader, make him have white armor because of canon.
No.
But let me put it this way.
I'm about to go off, man.
When has Rey ever fought Darth Maul?
Don't even. I'm about to snap on you and everybody listening to this. Don't even.
Don't.
If we're gonna talk about canon in Star Wars after they have repeatedly screwed the canon for Star Wars up the butt multiple times in the last decade alone, and then a video game company who have repeatedly produced terrible video games. Repeatedly.
Yep.
For the same franchise and for other things. This is EA?
Yeah. Electronic Arts.
They make terrible games.
Yep.
Some of their games, I enjoy, but
They're money hungry.
They are money hungry.
They're gonna make you know how.
And then for them to talk about, oh well, we can't do it like this because of canon.
Screw you!
Oh, I'm gonna snap. This was worth. I'm glad you brought that up because I did remember reading about that.
Yep.
And I wanted that to be our main topic. Not discussion topic. I wanted it to be our main story. Top story. Good job, EA. Go home. You're useless.
On another note,
you're not drunk. You're just useless. Go home.
On another note, anybody that plays EA sports games,
that's what they do.
They're talking
annually. That suck.
They're talking about making it a monthly fee to play them. Of $20.
Is anybody else getting
$20?
Is anybody else getting like Konami vibes right now? I'm sitting over here waving one hand in the air like a student asking a question of his teacher.
The difference is they don't have a Hideo Kojima to save them.
They have nothing to save them.
Hideo Kojima kept them.
Other than maybe their association with Disney.
Yeah, that's not going well. That's not going well.
Really?
Disney doesn't like the game.
Good.
They lost money. Disney lost money.
Yeah, I'm imagine. What's the game? There's a Marvel game that got shut down.
Marvel Omega.
Disney separated ties.
Marvel Omegas or something like that. It was on PlayStation. We played it for a while.
Yeah, I don't remember the name.
I'm glad I didn't spend any money on it because it got shut down a month ahead of schedule, and on top of that, they weren't going to refund anybody that spent like $500 onto it.
Yeah,
it was up for like a year.
Yeah.
So there was a guy that paid $500 into it and did not get in. No, if you're going to only keep it open for a year when you're saying you're going to keep it up for years, plural, you give that man that money back.
Mm-hmm. That's just wrong on so many. I mean, it's wrong.
But he should have bought microtransactions at that point, anyways. It's kind of
that game is very much a game set up for that, though.
Yes, it's literally made for that.
I think we leveled to 10 and then stopped. We hit the wall.
We got to. I switched characters, remember, and we went to 20.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, there is a Marvel Universe game where you can play as a variety of Marvel superheroes that was on the PlayStation Network, but because Disney separated ties with the video game company that made it, the game was taken down.
Yes, on all consoles, Xbox.
Is it on multiple consoles?
It was.
Okay.
And it got shut down across the board.
Yeah, that's terrible because frankly, it was kind of a fun game.
It really was. It was kind of a above, third perspective. It was tabletop-esque. Feel to it. It's like a Dark Alliance game or Baldur's Gate game.
It was like Diablo and Gauntlet.
It was like Diablo, quite literally a Diablo-esque game.
Yes, which are always great games.
Oh yeah, we should play Diablo.
We have been playing Diablo. DK exposed me to Diablo. It's a very fun game. But yeah, Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
And the fact that it has universally. Has anyone given that game a good review?
It gets good reviews. It's just it's like Rotten Tomato. The critics can say it's amazing, but it doesn't mean that the people think it's amazing.
Here's the thing, and you'll notice this if you pay attention. Critics that work for people, you can't always trust their opinion. You can't, because they're in the pocket of people.
You don't have to tell me that.
I know. You know better than anyone. I'm just telling the listeners.
I worked as well.
You can't always trust the opinion of a critic because, frankly, they will give something a good review.
Because they're told to.
Because they're told to, but also because they want to keep a good relationship with the company so that they can continue being paid to review their products.
Yeah, it's understandable.
It's just business.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's understandable if it's business.
It sucks, but it is just
It's business. Not right, but it's understandable.
People whose opinions that you can believe are people who are like us. Frankly,
we go see the movie and review
We go see the movie, and we're going to talk about the movie today. Justice League. We're not incorporated with anybody. We don't care what anybody thinks about our opinions.
I'm no longer a reviewer. This is simply as someone that enjoyed the movie.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the movie, and I wasn't expecting to.
Yeah.
So I actually went in with the intention of, oh boy. Now, to be clear, I did not go into the movie wanting to hate it. But
I
I went into the movie with very low expectations,
I went
and
into
it met
this
them.
movie. I was hoping by the grace of God it was good. I got depressed before it.
Okay, hold on. We're going to move from nerd news into our main discussion topic and continue with our Justice League debriefing. You may continue.
As Ozpin knows, because he was over here last night, I was down. I was depressed because we made plans with my father to go and see the movie because me and him are big DC fans.
Yeah.
Massive. His favorite character is Red Hood and Batman. Mine's Superman and Wonder Girl.
You both squealed a time or two during the movie.
Yes,
Usually that's
we
just
highly
you.
enjoyed. Yes.
Usually that's just you, but I got to see your dad squeal a little bit too.
He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. He did it.
Yep.
I got depressed last night because I really wanted this movie to at least be good. Not like be amazing or just be bearable. And I was so relieved that I loved the movie.
You were getting so depressed because I guess you were listening to me and you were like, you're starting to make me think this is going to really, really, really suck.
Yeah. You made me depressed.
And you were just like, oh, I want to love this movie. And I'm like, I do too. You have to understand that I want to love the movie. I want to love any movie that comes out because I love movies. I really do. I love film.
I know, but you're ragging on it so hard that I came to you and was like, I don't want to see the movie now.
He was. Even before we went into the theater, I was teasing you a little bit. You were afraid to go in.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where we were standing outside the theater, and we were waiting for your dad. Your dad went to the restroom really quick, and I was standing there, and I had a sincere moment inside my own mind, and I voiced it to you. I was like, man, I really do hope this movie's good. And you're like, shut up! And you turned around and walked away from me.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm serious. I really do want to like this movie. Because I love movies. And I love superhero movies in particular. I collect superhero movies on Blu-ray.
I have.
And getting good ones is hard. It just is.
Anyone that watches my Fun Fact series can see all the DC characters that I have on my wall. I have 2 Superman, Supergirl, Catwoman.
He has many statues.
Slade. I have, Starfire, Raven, Wonder Girl. I mean, I have a few from Thor, Lady Thor and Spider-Man.
It's probably my favorite that you have is Lady Thor. But
I'm a big DC guy more than anything.
Yeah.
I am a DC guy. Now, in my opinion, Thor Ragnarok was a better movie.
Oh, yeah.
Just Thor Ragnarok was a better movie than Justice League. But
Justice League is better than several Marvel movies that I can think of, but yes. I certainly enjoyed Thor more.
Yes, but I did not make a sound in the Thor movie. I laughed.
You did once
I laughed
3 or 4 times. You're like, but you squealed once or twice in Thor.
I made so much more noise during the Justice League.
Yes.
Because
yes, you did.
I'm ingrained into the DC. DC is my favorite side of the comic books. I love Marvel. I know Marvel quite well. I know the Inhumans, the Skrull, the Kree. I know all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I love DC more.
Yeah.
And seeing Superman just own the main bad guy.
Here's the thing.
It was a feeling.
I am going to have to, because I know I read DC for a year. It did not fill me in on anything. For those who don't know, when DC did its New 52 relaunch, I read most of the books for 12 months each. So I have the first 12 issues of all of the New 52 books. Or a very large chunk of them at the very least. That being said, I have no idea what's happening. Yeah. So I do not know who Steppenwolf is. I frankly, if we want to get the negative out of the way right now, my view on the movie is the villain was very poorly done. I don't know anything about this guy. Yes, he was introduced, but I have no reason to really fear him. And the characters who were introduced in this movie, Barry Allen was really, really funny a lot, but that's almost all he had going for him.
Yeah.
You know?
He was quirky, and he didn't have a deep personal.
They did not have this. If we're going, because the comparison is unavoidable, if we're going to compare it to Avengers, just Phase 1 by itself. Let's just do Phase 1. We're going to compare it to Avengers in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the DC Universe. The characters that were introduced in this movie, pretty much all of the League, I felt did not have enough backstory and development.
No, it didn't. But the difference is
which is the flaw that I was expecting.
DC didn't.
It was the flaw I was expecting, and it was the flaw that was unavoidable because DC, as I've said before,
trying to catch up.
It rushed it into production. Yeah. If they'd done a movie for each of these, in fact, if they'd done a movie just for, do a Batman, do like 4 movies, and then have that phase end with rush a bunch of movies into production all at once, and then have that part end with Batman vs. Superman, introduce the rest of the League, then do Justice League.
Yeah.
You can do that pretty quickly. You can churn out movies pretty fast if you're not too worried about quality, and frankly, the CGI in this movie is my primary complaint. It looked so cheesy. It looked bad. It looked bad.
I did not like...
Cyborg looked like an action figure running around up there.
I liked the Cyborg CG.
I did not.
But at one point, I looked at him and I said, he looks like a twig.
Yeah. No, well, I'm not saying that his design was bad. I'm saying that he looked CG. He looked cheesy. And when I watch movies these days, I expect them to be photoreal because I have never been able to see photoreal CG until very, very recently.
Yeah.
Like you look at things, again, Marvel, you look at like Captain America, where it's tiny little Chris Evans walking around in somebody else's body. They did the head replacement, but it looks so good. I've seen other movies recently that are not Marvel related, though I can't think of all of them right now, where the CG is just so good you cannot tell that it's fake. And I look at Cyborg and I'm like, he looks like he's made of Play-Doh.
Yeah,
he looks bad. The CG, and it's not just Cyborg.
No,
that is my primary complaint. But that being said, that's a pretty low complaint when I was expecting to go into this movie and be like, wow, this story is terrible.
The story was not that bad.
I don't think the story was that bad. No,
there's 2 parts of the story that bugged me.
What?
It was first of all, they didn't explain Steppenwolf at all.
Yeah.
When he should be explained, he's Darkseid's general. That was...
Yes, please, fill me in. I do not know who this guy is.
Steppenwolf is supposed to be this high general that worked for Darkseid for many, 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 many years.
I barely know who Darkseid is.
Okay, and what happened was that he failed to take Earth because of, back in the past, like in the movie actually, the Athenians, the Amazonians, and the humans all came together with like gods and aliens.
I'm pretty sure that was
back.
Hercules.
There was Hercules.
Was that Hercules there?
There was Hercules there.
How many Easter eggs did I miss?
There was Hercules.
Green Lantern.
There was Artemis. Oh, that shot the flaming bow.
Was the goddess Artemis?
Yes.
Okay, there's a Young Justice character named Artemis.
Okay,
that I'm a big fan.
Artemis is the god of the huntress of the hunt and the moon.
This is the god Artemis, then.
Yes, the god Artemis.
Okay, yeah, the
Zeus's daughter.
Yeah, the Young Justice is not a god.
She was shooting the flaming bow. There was Hercules in there that was throwing stuff at the Steppenwolf. There was Zeus in there that shot him with lightning.
There's some really tall people there.
Yes, those are gods too.
Those are nice Easter eggs, but finally I'm starting to understand where a lot of people come from when things are thrown into the Marvel movies that general audiences don't know what it is.
Yes.
It doesn't happen that much, but I feel...
You see a Green Lantern in there too, but we all know what that is.
It's a Green Lantern, and I said there would be a Green Lantern in the movie.
Yes.
But
Steppenwolf is essentially just this being that got banished because he couldn't take Earth. He failed.
So he tried to capture and conquer Earth, and he failed.
To give to Darkseid under Darkseid's order.
Okay,
He
they got
failed
that.
Darkseid and was banished for it.
They got that across in the film, but the film doesn't give us any reason to be afraid of Darkseid.
The thing is that Steppenwolf conquered thousands of worlds.
I was expecting Darkseid in this movie. Frankly, I don't know why they didn't just do Darkseid.
I understand that they're money hungry, in not the same way as, I should say more of a...
What did I say in the car?
They're trying to catch up. And they're trying to catch up so hard that they're trying to save it for the big climax. Because
that makes no sense.
The big thing that I have the complaint about this movie and the story is that the big climax did not feel like a big climax.
No, it did not.
It did not feel like a final fight. It did not feel like it. It felt like, man.
It felt like everybody sucks and holds the line until Superman shows up.
Yes.
Then Superman wins for you.
And one of the best parts of this movie is just the Superman's back and he's cocky.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I really like the fact that Superman's back. And I like, do you bleed? I liked that. Good callback because, like I said, I enjoyed Batman vs. Superman. But my complaint was, like, who's Darkseid? You know, they set it up, and if DC...
He's going to beat you down.
I keep saying DC. Who's making these movies?
I think
What's the production company?
I think it's Warner Brothers.
I didn't even pay attention. Listen to me, but if they're going to... Like what you just touched on, they are so eager to catch up. If they're going to blow their load early on everything else, why didn't they just make it Darkseid?
Fair enough.
It doesn't make sense for them to keep things close to the chest when they're Justice League movie. We're going to make all the little movies afterward. Yeah,
they should have just done it with Darkseid, but I will say the best part of the movie, for me, was seeing Superman come out of nowhere, just taunt Steppenwolf, and just beat him down. And just toss him to the side.
I like where he's with Cyborg, and he's like, I like being alive.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. Cyborg's like, me too. Surprisingly.
And then he hits the ground, and he's like, I lied. I want to be dead. It's like, oh, it was such great character.
That might be my favorite line.
That was my favorite part. That's something you don't see in Superman in comic books.
Yeah.
Human.
Uh-huh.
Actual human.
Dude, I told you more than once that Man of Steel Superman is my Superman. Because he's a guy.
Yeah. He's trying to do his best.
He's not this godlike Templar of righteousness. He's human and he's flawed. Because you
can't make an idol and make an interesting story.
It's touched on. Batman even touches on it. He's like, he was more human than me. That was Batman's line. And it's like, and that's true because Batman's almost robotic.
Another one of my favorite parts is that when Superman was like, of course you wouldn't bring me back because you like me. He was like, and Batman just look on his face. He's like, I don't not like you.
Batman has a bit of a man crush on
the thing about this is that there was comedy, but it was done well in the characters because Batman was funny, but he wasn't. It didn't take away from his coolness. It didn't take away from Batman.
Yeah.
And Superman was Superman, but the human side showed just enough to where you see him finally as what he was supposed to be.
Batman almost did not get to be cool enough for me in this movie. Because I know one of the main things I went into this movie really wanting to see was more Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah.
Because Ben Affleck as Batman is great. I love that. And he stands around shooting zombie mosquitoes with a gun for a while.
I didn't like the gun.
I don't care that it was a gun because they're basically zombie mosquitoes.
I know. It's like killing Solomon Grundy, but still.
I'm not worried about the killing thing. I'm not worried about the fact that he was using a gun. I'm worried about the fact that he could have been doing such cooler stuff.
Like flying in the air, shooting batarangs, using electroshock.
Using explosions. Where was the bat?
I know.
Where was the bat? Come on.
And Batman
what are you doing?
Superman.
Saving that for another movie?
Did you see what he did to all those bad guys in the Batman vs. Superman movie? He put them through the floor. Literally through the floor. Concrete. Why didn't he do it in this movie with the flying roaches?
You know, you just pointed something out to me. That wasn't covered in this movie either. None of that was like other than the fact that the Flash was introduced. It's like none of that flash forward to the future. None of that scene was covered.
None of it.
Oh.
Do you know why?
Because there's...
The directors changed from
the rewrites.
Zack Snyder to someone else.
There have been...
Zack Snyder was going to go in Justice League. I guarantee you that he was going to go in Justice League, and they changed it.
That might have been a good call.
They went from dark to... And they made it a little bit more happy and comedy in this compared to the darkness. In Injustice, Flash comes back from Flashpoint and tells Batman that he was right about Superman. Superman's going to kill everybody, and eventually he puts his fist through Joker's heart.
Because he tricks him into killing Lois Lane.
Yes, and his son/daughter in her stomach.
Yeah.
They changed the story. I was looking forward to the Injustice, but I'm not upset that they changed it to the more comedian.
I don't hate
happier.
Superman. I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I think
it's okay though.
See, that's my point. It's like DK thinks that I hate Superman. I don't hate Superman. I hate the fact that this Templar of goodness and righteousness, this Boy Scout in a cape. I'm saying that in a positive way, not a negative way, because I was a Boy Scout for 7 years. I think that that's a very good thing to aspire to be. Same reason I like Captain America so much, and I've gone on rants about how much I like Captain America. I like Superman. I don't like the fact that anytime he's put in any kind of compromising emotional situation, he breaks and starts killing people. That's what bothers me. In Injustice...
The whole story about Injustice,
how many times have terrible things like that been done to other heroes? And how many times have they come out the other end without punching Joker through the chest?
There's a difference. Injustice was literally made to show what would happen if Superman became a dictator. It was a story made for that. They just found a reason and made him that way. There's a difference because there's writing a superhero and then the story grows as it goes, or having this is what's gonna be like, and this is how we get there.
I acknowledge the merit of writing. They're called Elseworld stories. I acknowledge the merit of writing Elseworld stories that explore what would happen if a hero did this. This isn't your hero, but this is the hero in this situation. What bothers me is that every single Elseworld story is Superman goes crazy.
No, that's not...
He does not maintain his morality at all if he loses his power.
That's like 3 or 4 out of dozens, though.
I disagree. Any that I have been exposed to, Superman has lost his... What's the word?
Moral?
I said
conviction?
Moral. Conviction applies.
Okay, 90% of the ones I've read of Elseworld stories are he keeps his conviction and things drastically change.
Give me for instance.
Depends. I don't know them off the top of my head. I've read several other what would happen stories.
This is getting away from Justice League just a little bit, but I'll give you an example as far as what I'm talking about. And if you're familiar with the story, I'm sure that this made you angry too. I think it's called the Black Light event.
Yeah. No.
From DC is an Elseworld story where all the heroes lose their superpowers through some act of... I think it is called Act of God. It's called Act of God. And Clark Kent, who is married to Lois Lane, becomes this depressed, emo, shut-in loser after he loses his powers.
And Lois leaves him.
Lois Lane leaves him, not because of the state that he's in, but because I'm not in love with you, I'm in love with Superman.
Yes, but what I'm saying is...
offends me.
That is not
on such a deep level.
That is not a Superman story. That is some jerkwad that decided, I'm going to make a horrible Superman story. Because that is... Everybody knows that is not what Superman is in any way. Just because it's written and Superman's in it doesn't mean it's Superman. It means that someone took Superman and like, this is what I think. It's an opinion.
This is what could happen.
This is an opinion of what he says.
But that's one of the stories...
everybody knows that would never happen with a real Superman.
That's one of the stories I've been exposed to. And frankly, I've seen more stories that do stuff like that than I've seen stories, and if you have some examples that you'd like to recommend to me, I'd love to look at them.
I'll tell you right now. In the current storyline, Superman lost his powers after he used his... new power he did, where he expelled all the energy in him.
There's a story.
But
Red Sun? No, it's not Red Sun. Red Sun's where he's a villain. Of course, it's Red Sun.
I'm gonna do this one first.
It's the one where he's dying. He knows he's gonna die, and he spends like a week on Earth, and Lex Luthor sets up a situation where you cannot do this without dying. So Superman's gonna die. I've heard very good things about that story.
I'm going to talk about this one first, and then you can talk about that. In the current storyline, he lost his powers after he used one of his abilities and expelled all his red energy in him from the sun, the radiation.
Right.
Instead of him being depressed, he got depressed, picked himself up, and he's like, Batman, teach me to be like you.
Yeah.
He's like, train me. I'm your sidekick now. He became Batman's sidekick. He decided, like a real superhero does, I'm not going to wallow what I used to be. I'll be better now.
Yeah. That's what you do.
And that's Superman. Just because he lost his power, he did not become a wallowing guy. He still went out, fought those guys with his fist, got his butt kicked, and went to Batman. Train me.
Yeah. A lot.
That's Superman.
The funny thing is that anytime anybody loses their powers, they go to Batman. Because that exact same thing happened.
Because Batman has no superpowers, and he's awesome.
That exact same thing happened in Act of God with Supergirl and some of the other heroes who had lost their powers. They go to Batman and they basically become his... Batman basically starts what is the Avengers Initiative. In Marvel,
he grows the Bat family again.
In the comic books, not in the movies. There are certain Superman stories, like the one I just mentioned, that I've heard very good things about. And I want to see good stories. And I just haven't been exposed to any of the good ones. And it bothers me because I want to love Superman. I want to love DC. But these people are terrible people. I even had a moment during Justice League where I was like, yeah, look at Superwoman wearing her $1,000 clothes and her super expensive sports car. It's like, these people... You get that feeling sometimes when you're looking at DC. It's like these people are like the 1%. They give you that vibe sometimes. The Justice League. Something. Go ahead.
Just because that a character is written with the name of who they are doesn't mean it is them. Because you take what you see over the course of a very long time, and you find the commonplace of it. Batman's always a shut-in, and then he learns his way, he joins the Justice League, he always does the same thing. And what I'm saying is,
sort of,
essentially, you can't, just because the title of the comic book is Superman, you can't take it as a Superman comic book, because it is different writers. And there's writers that are like, I don't like Superman, I'll write for it. And it usually has a crappy storyline.
Then there are and it's happened before. There are some writers who are like, I really want to write Superman, and they still do that stuff.
I know, but what I'm saying is that you can't just take it as it has the name, so that's the Superman. Because we all know what Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Arthur Curry, Aquaman, Cyborg, we all know who they are. Mm-hmm. And we all know what they really are. And what I mean by that is, like, when you read comic books for a long period of time, you get a feeling of who they are as a core being.
And that's kind of my problem.
You can't, just because someone wrote a comic book and this person that wouldn't do it, and they wrote that he would do it, doesn't mean that he did. That means that they say, he did it. Here's some shock. This is what happened.
Yeah.
We all know Lois Lane would never leave Superman because he's not Superman anymore.
Well,
in a lot of comic books, she fell in love with Clark Kent before she knew he was Superman.
There are so many.
Most of the comic books.
There are so many different versions of these characters, which is like, if we're going to touch on that really quick, we'll touch on Arthur Curry and the fact that they use a very particular version of Aquaman in this.
Yes.
And he's great.
Oh, yeah.
I love the actor. I've always loved the actor since I saw him in Stargate Atlantis. But there are so many different versions of these characters that exist. You have to draw from something. And what you're describing is, well, when someone writes something that I don't like, I can always negate that as part of the story.
I didn't mean it like that.
Well, I do. Because that's called selective amnesia. We can choose to ignore aspects of stories that we like. And it's like you've said before, a good story, it all depends on where you end the story. But you also have the problem of the DC characters kind of lack character unless we're looking at the darker, more flawed versions of them. Like the Injustice, that's why Injustice is so popular, is because they're actual characters. They're actually doing things that matter. Whereas the DC heroes were designed to be godlike. They were designed to... That's the classic comparison between DC and Marvel. Marvel are the people who you identify with. DC are the people who you strive to be like. When you put the people who you strive to be like in a situation where they are compromised morally, you can't help but make them appear so much weaker than they... Like, they're so strong on average that when you make them appear weak in any form, they appear so much weaker than that would even appear.
Perspective.
Yes. Anyway.
The movie was great.
We enjoyed the movie.
I loved it. It's in my top 10, not my top favorite.
Certainly not for me. It was enjoyable.
There's like a dozen movies that I like, and it's a part of it.
Yeah, I did not...
That are just high up there.
I did not dislike the movie. But I certainly would not put it in my top anything.
Let's admit, this is the best DC movie we have. Like,
Are
of
we
the main
counting the
Justice
Nolan?
League.
Are we counting the Nolan Batman films?
No.
And if we're talking
that original Batman, we're talking about the current run. The Nolan films was an independent, separate Batman, and I'm talking about the current
DC movies.
Batman versus Superman.
Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, Suicide Squad,
yes.
Justice League. That's all we've got, right?
Yes. Out of the four, this is the best one, I believe.
I hope we're not forgetting one.
I don't believe so.
One?
No, because there's Suicide Squad with the Joker, Jared Leto. But
that's another topic.
Batman vs Superman, and there was Man of Steel.
Let's rank them then.
Okay, so mine are number one, best of.
Yeah, you go first because I'm gonna have to think about this.
Number one, best of is Justice League. Number two, Man of Steel. I like Man of Steel quite a bit. It showed him being human, true sacrifice, especially when he snapped Zod's neck. He cried like a baby.
That's what pissed off so many people, and the argument that it even made you angry. It bothered you and your dad because I went and saw that with you and your dad, and you were both frustrated with the fact that Superman killed somebody, and it made so many other people mad too.
But the reason why I was upset about that is because I didn't realize it was the Injustice storyline. Yeah. If it's the normal Batman at that point, it was not the normal Batman.
It's not anymore.
I mean, Superman.
It's not Injustice anymore.
I know, but it was supposed to be at that point. That's why I understand it. And that's like, oh, it's the Injustice storyline. I can get behind this. Because if it was the normal Superman, I would have lost my stuffing, because he doesn't do that.
My stuffing.
He doesn't have to.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
He is as strong as he needs to be, not as he's not like Goku from Dragon Ball Z, where he trains to get as strong as what he needs to be. He is as strong as he needs to be. He has enough strength in every case to get it done correct without killing anyone.
Yeah. I honestly did kind of have a problem where in the movie he shows up and he saves a building.
Yeah.
While Flash saves a truck. It's like, you really did just show up to you showed up to show up all the other heroes.
He is the source of strength. Usually Diana, Wonder Woman, is right there with him in strength-wise.
Diana's supposed to be the leader.
No, Batman's the leader.
No.
Yeah. In Justice League, Batman runs everything from the shadows. He gets everything going. He has the protocols. He has like that.
But Wonder Woman
doesn't know.
Wonder Woman is the field
commander. Cyborg is usually field commander.
That might be in the comics. I'm talking about Justice League Unlimited, where I believe she was the leader of the team. She might have been the younger version. I don't know. And just generically, most. You even touched on that a little bit.
It's usually Batman running everything, and if Batman's not there, it's Cyborg nowadays behind him. So if Batman's gone, Cyborg runs, because Cyborg works with Batman closely.
DC changes this stuff so much.
Yes, but if we're going to talk about across the board, it's usually Batman. Batman usually says, we're going to do this, 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 and this.
Yeah, because Batman's the most popular.
He's also the smartest out of all.
Have Batman in as many books as humanly possible.
He's the smartest of all. Let's get real. He's the most logical, the greatest detective.
Actually, not humanly possible. Batman was in so many books during the New 52 run that they were actually pointing out arguments where He literally cannot be in all of these places at the same time. It was kind of funny, but I'm sorry, I interrupted your ranking system.
So it's Justice
Maybe
League,
I didn't interrupt it so much as we both kind of went off on a tangent.
Justice League, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Suicide Squad. I didn't like Suicide Squad because that Joker is not my Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Harley Quinn was there just to be a sex object.
Yeah.
They literally introduced two.
I wouldn't agree.
They introduced two characters, and they're like, yeah, just those guys.
Who?
The Boomerang guy and Trip Shot.
Boomerang guy paid off, but Trip Shot was
Captain Boomerang and Trip Shot.
Yeah.
Like literally, just got, and there was two of them just died just off the bat, just boom. The Enchantress, she thrives. What? That's not Enchantress. Enchantress has full clothes, by the way, and she's awesome. They put a girl in skimpy clothes.
I was digging her.
Dressing like she's having an epileptic seizure.
I thought it was hot.
Katana Girl. Katana Girl has an actual story, and she just shows up. They don't give her any. They don't give up depth to these characters. They don't have depths. You're not invested in any of them.
Yeah.
They're not characters. They're caricatures.
Well, here's the thing. They are stereotypes.
Yes.
You've got the Asian with a katana. You've got the Australian guy with a boomerang.
Yep.
The list goes on for all of them. Frankly, you've got the black guy with a gun.
Yeah. Indian guy with the rope.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. It's horrible.
I'm not the one pointing this out. This has been pointed out online. Suicide Squad is full of a bunch of
racist stereotypes.
Really racist stereotypes.
I still
liked the movie.
I did not.
Also, you've got the crazy white girl.
It was tolerable, but I would never sit down and watch it freely, personally. Now, there's a lot of deleted scenes, like an hour and a half of deleted scenes of the Joker and other stuff, that if they give me an addition, I'd sit down and watch it, and I'd probably like it more. You would probably like it less because the Joker at that point doesn't come off like he actually loves Harley Quinn, because he doesn't.
I would not.
In the movie, it comes off like he does, but it doesn't show in the part of the movie where he pushes her out of the plane because he thought he was going to die. He wanted to see her die before it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a totally different Joker at that point.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Jared Leto was even mad about it because he was like, "That's not what I was playing. They changed me."
Yeah, but they did it for the best.
I would disagree, and there's some people that I'd agree with.
That's fine. For my opinion, I love that version of the Joker.
It's completely understandable. He's seductive. I like the seductive Joker, but I also anarchy one.
There are multiple Jokers in this. Anyway, I want to move past that. I'm not touching on that. Let me rank these. This is not my order. This is me verifying the movies. We've got Suicide Squad, Justice League, Batman vs. Superman, and Man of Steel.
Yes.
Those four. Let's go with... I like Man of Steel the most. I just do.
Yeah. It's understandable.
Man of Steel, followed by Batman vs. Superman. I liked Justice League, and I liked Suicide Squad a lot. It's too soon for me to pick one over the other.
So tied for third or fourth.
Yeah, those are kind of next to each other right now, but I'm honestly leaning... I would put in Suicide Squad before I'd put in Justice League.
Fair enough.
If I had them on Blu-ray. Too soon to call. And
our opinions differ. I like DC because of certain reasons, and this movie had those reasons.
Yeah.
I liked the combat, the brutalness, the cockiness of Superman, the funny moments that Batman has.
They humanized
the gape mo that he has.
I read the Superman comic for a year, and it was just some narrator talking over Superman punching things.
Yeah.
That was the Superman comic. Action Comics was...
better.
It was not only better, but it was too smart for me. Action Comics was... The story was science fiction-y and hyper-intelligent. It was so well done. To the point that I could not understand what was happening. That being said, I know that it's well done because I had it explained to me retroactively.
That works.
But the Superman comics were they were the boringest dang thing. And Superman was human in this.
Yep.
And I like that because you would have this. It's Thor's thing. If you're all powerful, and he's not, but he's close, you're gonna be arrogant.
Yep.
And that's Thor's
Flaw.
critical flaw. Every Marvel hero has a critical flaw. You know, Tony Stark's an alcoholic.
Narcissist.
Yeah. Captain America is old-fashioned to the point that he kind of hinders himself socially.
Yeah.
He's a socially awkward duck.
I can't deny that.
But yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. Man of Steel's still my favorite. I still regret the fact that I missed out on getting that on Blu-ray for like $4 a few years ago.
Wow. That I regret that.
It was right around Christmas. Do you have Man of Steel?
I do.
I'm about to watch that.
I would join you.
So, Justice League. Overall, and we did just see it, overall we both enjoyed the film. We are both admitting that the film had flaws.
Yes.
As it's ironic that we're saying what everybody else said, but we're saying it in the context of we are viewers. We're saying what I said in the last show. It's like even the viewers are saying this. And I said the viewers are saying, yeah, it's a good movie. I'd pay money to see that. I'm looking forward to it. The story's probably going to lag.
Yeah, it was lacking a little bit in the story.
I don't even think it was lacking. It wasn't lacking in the story so much as it did not have time to set up stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you
rush.
They rushed the movie out the door without setting out any of these other characters. Like Cyborg's dad just disappeared at one point.
Yeah.
Like he was there, then he said protect the box, gone.
Yep.
You do not see him again. I'd like an extended version of this film.
Yes, I would very much like so because they deleted a lot of stuff to get to this.
Yeah, I would like.
That happens a lot. I want like the Hobbits. I want the extended edition.
Who was the first director?
Zack Snyder.
I want to see his cut of the film, and I want an extended cut of this film.
Yes.
Because there is an extended cut. I have not seen it of Batman vs Superman, where they have more Wonder Woman going on apparently.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I think that's what's going on for the extended cut. But I haven't seen Wonder Woman yet. I'm very angry at myself for that. When your dad found out I hadn't seen Wonder Woman yet, he's like, you suck.
Yeah.
And I didn't initially know what he was talking about. It's like,
yeah, I do.
As soon as I recognized why, it's like, yeah, no, you're completely right. Because I am a Wonder Woman fanboy. I love Wonder Woman as far as what she represents. She does not represent feminism.
No.
She does not.
She's empowered. Don't get me wrong.
She is a symbol of feminine empowerment, but she is not a feminist.
No,
the versions of Wonder Woman that portray her as a feminist, frankly, offend me. Because she's not this prejudiced, crazy man-hater. She is...
That's... Okay, first of all, I've done a fun facts about Wonder Woman. We all know... You were there. We all know that there for a long 10, 15, 20 years, she was written by a feminist.
Yes.
True feminist.
Yeah.
Not a man-hater. A feminist that strived to empower women, to make them equals.
I'm not talking about what she was.
No, what I'm saying.
Because, frankly, Superman started out as this white supremacist, racist prick.
It's of the times. But the majority of Wonder Woman's life, she was a feminist. I want to point that out. The majority of her life, in comics, is she was written by a feminist.
Okay,
was a feminist. But a real feminist.
Let's make the clarification right now. She's not like a man-hating feminist.
No,
she's a
real feminist.
She is a
not what current feminists
women's rights
activist.
I guess that's the phrase we're looking for.
But what I'm saying is, she's not like the current day what the people call a feminist. She didn't hate men. She strived for women to be on equal footing with men in job, in court, in life, in love, everything.
Yeah,
that's what feminist is. Yeah. Current feminists are like pull down the man. How about you elevate the woman to where the men are?
The current modern definition of feminist is the generally accepted definition of a feminist isn't an accurate definition.
Yes, because
the stereotype of a feminist is what we're talking about, and there are versions of Wonder Woman that are portrayed as that offensive stereotyping of a feminist.
Which is bullcrap.
That bother me so badly.
Because I'm all for a feminist, but I just don't like anybody that wants to drag it down another person because of gender or that. That's the whole thing that's wrong here. That's why we have feminists.
Yes, obviously. And I love Wonder Woman because she represents so many. Like, she is such... I've compared her to Captain America. The way Captain America is in comic books, he is this... He's what Superman should be and what the movies have been trying to portray Superman as. They did an okay job here, but not a great job when you think about the way Captain America is in the comics. It's just Captain America is this... If he's got to walk out... I didn't like Fear Itself, but there is a scene in Fear Itself where Captain America... Steve Rogers has not been Captain America for a while. He puts the costume back on for the first time, and he walks outside to meet an army by himself because nobody else wants to come.
Yeah. That's
Captain America.
Exactly.
And he goes, it doesn't matter if anybody else is going to come with him. He's not thinking about, I hope that when I walk out here, somebody else is going to come with me. He's not thinking about that. He's just thinking, I'm going to go because I have to go.
Yep.
And that is what inspires everybody else to go with him. He doesn't hope, man, I really hope that inspirational speech makes him come with me. He just, this is the right thing to do. I'm going to do it. And it's that spark.
That spreads to everybody else.
Yeah, it spreads to everybody else and brings everybody out to fight with him. And defeats, frankly, Fear Itself.
Frankly,
terrible comic, by the way. Don't read Fear Itself, but that was a great scene in it.
Frankly,
Wonder Woman does that.
What we need is someone to lift up people and stop tearing down other people. Yeah. And that's what comic books are about. To bring people up. They even
talk about it in the movie. Batman says to Wonder Woman, I want you, I've been trying to push you to be the leader. He's like, you're trying to talk to me about guilt? Remember that? It's like, you're trying to talk to me about guilt? You do the exact same thing Superman was doing, but you have chosen to remain in the shadows as opposed to inspiring and lifting people up when you're fully capable of doing it.
Exactly.
Where have you been? Why have I not heard about you before? Nobody's heard about you before. And you're going to talk to me about feeling guilty because your friend died? You know? It's like, that was a great scene, and it addresses it. It addresses what we're talking about right now. And that's true. And it gets points to the movie for that. But it is what we're saying.
5 points to Gryffindor.
5 points to Wonder Woman. But I love Wonder Woman.
Ravenclaw. Okay.
I love Wonder Woman. I really do. And I love the actress who's playing Wonder Woman. And I feel very bad that I have not seen Wonder Woman.
We'll fix that.
Speaking, that is the movie we were forgetting.
Yes.
From the ranking.
Oh.
But okay. Wonder Woman is exempt because, again, we have not seen it. We plan to see it together, but scheduling fell through. It may be at the Dollar Movies.
Okay, I saw it.
You jack!
I took a date on it to it.
Of course you did.
Because we weren't hanging out at that point. You were busy, so I was like, I'll take a date to it.
Dang!
Yeah, so I know how awesome it is. We'll fix that.
We'll rank it then. Go ahead and fix your ranking.
Wonder Woman, huh? Justice League tie with Man of Steel with Wonder Woman.
That's good to hear. I also find it ironic that when people have talked about Wonder Woman, they have compared it to the Captain America movie.
It is. It's up there. It is. You like Civil War. It's Civil War. Cool.
Civil War is my favorite Marvel movie.
You'll like Wonder Woman.
Okay. But yeah, I am looking forward to that. Justice League, people. Overall,
good movie. Would 10 out of 10 would buy again.
It's good, and given the fact that I was not expecting it to, I had zero faith in this movie, as I vocally proclaimed several times on this show. It certainly surpassed my very low expectations.
I would give it a hard 8.5.
I would give it, because it does have some flaws.
That's what flaws.
I would give it a 7.
A soft 7?
A soft 7.
Fair enough. It's flexible either way.
Yeah, I could go to 6, go to 8. It's all right.
And I liked it a little bit more than you. I'd give it an 8.5. Hard 8.
Okay. 8.5 to 9. That's cool.
No, not to 9. 8 to
8.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a 9.
So yeah, it was a good movie. Again, I'm going to cover all the bases. Portrayed the characters really well.
Very much.
I'm actually very, very disappointed because a lot of these actors are not going to be reprising their roles, correct?
Sadly.
Specifically Ben Affleck.
Yeah,
which
the one
is
we
what
know
really,
right now is Ben Affleck.
Really, really lets me down. Because like I said, they did not take full advantage of Batman.
No, they didn't.
They had him standing in a corner shooting a gun for like 20 minutes. It was really disappointing.
I can understand not doing it because they're going to change actors.
The characters were great. Some of the setups. Now, to be fair, I'm sure that we didn't get any of the setup for Atlantis in Wonder Woman.
No.
That seemed lacking. I'm sure we got plenty of setup for the Amazons.
Amazons we had.
So I'm sure that little area would be filled in if I had seen Wonder Woman.
Amazons are completely fleshed out.
Okay.
The Atlanteans, completely out of nowhere.
Did we lose any important characters during that sequence where he was invading Themyscira? Okay, that's good to know. That's unfortunate. And yeah, I feel like they did not have the time to flush out certain things, which is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So the primary flaw that I was expecting of the film was certainly there, and it was certainly glaring. But it was a thoroughly enjoyable film.
Yes. And I take it back. Actually, no important characters died. I thought so, but no.
Not because there were several characters that
there
were
like... several important looked like face characters. They weren't.
Okay, they looked like they were.
They're side characters even in the Wonder Woman movie, but they still were on screen before.
I know there are a few named Wonder Woman characters who tend to hang out with Hippolyta.
Yeah.
Did Hippolyta die?
No. Her mom, no.
She was alive at the end. Blonde?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was the one that held... The one under the horse held her hand.
Right, I know. Hippolyta was the blonde chick, which is weird.
She lived.
She looks just like Deanna.
She lived.
Okay. Yeah, I know she lived. It's just, I was like, did she...
Some of her close friends died.
Yeah, those two girls who were like her wingmen.
They were in the Wonder Woman movie,
yeah. Yeah, they are established comic characters who I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
So I guess that pretty much wraps up our discussion on Justice League, DC movies, and comics in general.
Yeah, it got broad at the end.
That's why I was trying to bring it back towards closing thoughts for the film. It's like, do you have any closing thoughts for the film?
Joking, 10 out of 10 would buy again. I'd pay for the ticket. I didn't lose any money buying this ticket that I would want back.
Right.
It was worth the $10 admission fee. If you can't win, if you can get it at matinee, even better. I'd definitely go see this $1 movie again. Go to a $1 movie, watch it. It's a hard 8 to 8.5. I know Steppenwolf well. Yeah. I know him personally well. So that wasn't a problem about me. But if you don't know who Steppenwolf is, then you're going to have some lost in translation.
Yeah, that was my issue.
So I can understand a lower score for that. But it was, if you know the characters well enough to where you know every character in there, it's a good movie.
It felt like the movie expected me to know certain things.
Yes,
it did. In the flashback sequence, I got the feeling there were a lot of really quick Easter eggs of people who I was supposed to recognize, and I recognized Hercules for a moment. And I got the Green Lantern.
Some of us would be recognizable from watching the Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, I got the Green Lantern thing, but I didn't get, I got the
Zeus was there, Hercules, Artemis.
Yeah, Greek gods.
There's Greek gods in there.
At first I thought those were just empowered Amazons. But I don't know. That was the problem. I
think they were giants.
Specific problem that I had
think they were giants.
Steppenwolf said Darkseid.
Yep.
Speaking as someone who doesn't know DC, I don't know who Steppenwolf is. I don't know who Darkseid is. And I don't know a lot of the references that the film made.
Darkseid, if you've read comic books,
that was
DC Comics,
primary problem with the movie.
Prevalent DC villain. The Omega Beam.
I know Darkseid. I just don't really know anything about Darkseid.
Yeah, it's understandable. But if you read the comic books, you'd feel differently about the movie.
But I should be able to see the movie without reading the comics. Is my point.
Agreed. That's what I'm saying. It's like I understand a lower, like a 7 compared to the 8 or 9 you'd have. If you know DC, you're gonna love this movie. You don't need the the explain bit to you.
Yeah.
If you don't know DC, it's lacking.
Yeah. It's, for me, it feels like it's lacking.
It is.
But that being said, I still liked the movie, and that's more than I expected. I enjoyed the movie thoroughly, and that's so much more than I was expecting. I was expecting to go in there and come out mad. And I came out fulfilled, which is good.
I'm happy.
I don't have faith in the movies going forward, but I also don't have faith in the production of any more movies going forward.
I'm going to tell you right now that this is probably the end of what I'd say the end. This is where it stops for me.
Yeah.
Until I see the next.
If only because they're not... Given how much money this movie's going to lose, they might not make any more.
Yeah.
Or they might wait 2 or 3 years and reboot it. Which sucks, because I like this Superman.
Yeah,
I like this Superman a lot, and I like... But, I mean, I can watch these movies and be content enough. You know?
Fair enough.
So, overall, good review.
Good review. Good enough movie.
So, beyond that, we have a listener-submitted question.
From the starring Big Wing Boy.
Yeah, Big Wing Boy asks, what are some of your favorite cryptids, either from fiction or real life?
Now, this is directly from a question from it came from one of our podcast videos. I believe it was 6.
Yeah, it was the last one we did.
6.
I had to Google the word cryptid.
I had an understanding. I knew it was like the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot. I just didn't know the parameters.
I had no idea what that word meant, which is interesting considering the fact that I'm a horror buff, and for a good period of my life, I wanted to be a folklorist. I wanted to catalog folktales and urban legends and keep records of them for a living. And I didn't know the word cryptid. So
wow.
I actually felt really, really...
depressed.
Yeah, I had a moment where I was like, damn.
Should have knew this.
I should have known that. I should have. But we actually decided we're going to expand the question a little bit so that we can each talk about more than one each.
We're going to have one local. We live in Texas, Dallas County.
We live in the DFW area.
We're going to have one non-local and one fantasy.
Yeah. So go ahead and start if you want.
Okay, my local is Goatman's Bridge.
Yeah.
Off in Louisville, there's
he beat me to calling this one. I wanted to call this one. And you were like, Goatman's Bridge. I'm like, dang it!
My dad told me about this. He hanged out in this bridge when he was growing up. It was the first one that my dad, before I knew Sasquatch, before I knew Lake Ness Monster, I knew Goatman Bridge.
Yeah.
And it terrified me as a kid. So I'm claiming him. Okay. His head's mine.
So we get to tell the stories. Tell the story. Do you want to tell the story, or would you like me to tell the story?
That's as far as I'm going to go. That's why I'm afraid of shit.
Okay, then we're telling these stories, and I'll tell the story if I need to. But Goatman's Bridge is a local urban legend. I have actually visited Goatman's Bridge repeatedly.
I've been a few times.
My cousin wanted to get me to go down there with him. I wouldn't go for a long time, and then I went. It's fine. Nothing weird happened. But Goatman's Bridge is a local legend in Louisville, Texas, which talks about a bridge where the Goat Man...
Oh, a bridge named Goatman Bridge, huh?
It's on a specific road. I don't remember. I think it's Old Denton.
Yeah, but you say it's a bridge, huh?
It's a bridge. Yeah, it's a bridge, man. It's kind of like Howard the Duck.
At a certain line, it looks like a goat.
It's like Howard the Duck. That's a duck, man. That's a duck.
Okay,
anyway,
continue.
It is a bridge where it is said a free black man. I'm not sure the time period thing.
It was back there when it was not.
I'm not sure if we had slaves at the point or if it was after the point that we had slaves.
I believe it was a slur for freed slaves.
I think it was after, but during a time of great racism.
Yeah.
A black man who owned and raised goats.
Now, I want to make it clear. I don't like this because of the slaves. I didn't know what he's telling me right now.
You don't know the story.
It was terrifying to me because what my dad told me.
Oh, boy.
I grew up a wee little boy telling me that a goat's man's going to get me. A goat on 2 legs that has the head of a goat and the body of a man.
Oh, I
thought he was white.
You just made my freaking day.
I thought it was a white man with a goat head.
DK doesn't know the story.
I didn't know this was racist.
Okay, so I'm starting the story.
Now I'm racist because I said his head's mine. This is screwed up on multiple levels.
Let it go. Let it go. I'm telling a horror story.
In my defense, I did not know.
Okay, so the legend of Goatman's Bridge is on one side of the bridge there lived the Goatman. Historically, there was a sign labeled "This way to the Goatman." He was a black man who raised goats. And one night, a group of racist hillbilly rednecks, like you get down here in the South, especially back then, crossed the bridge, went to his home, lynched him, tortured him, killed his family, took him and tied a noose around his neck, and then threw him off the side of the bridge. Now, as the story goes, the Goatman, after being tossed over the side, disappeared. And legend says, when you go to the bridge at night, you will encounter the Goatman crossing it. I was initially afraid of this legend because Goatman starts to enter the realm of demon.
Yeah.
And while I wanted to be a paranormal investigator there for a good chunk of my life, like I said, folklorist, but frankly, I want to get a van and go hunt ghosts.
It's not Scooby-Doo. You can't have your treats. You can't have it your way.
I disagree. But the reason I kind of avoided Goatman's Bridge was because ghosts are one thing. You're entering the realm of demonology.
Okay,
and
so
you don't mess with demons.
What I thought it was is what my dad thought it was is a demon, essentially, that is half goat, half man. From an abomination of a man sleeping with a goat.
Yeah, that's the prevalent belief.
Okay,
this is the urban
mine
legend.
was a different one. Mine's a different goat man.
You were lacking the actual urban legend of Goatman.
Which, in my defense, they are cryptids because the backstories are not defined.
Yes, well, we're kind of doing
they're unknown.
We're doing a loose definition of cryptid, where pretty much we're defining it as things that go bump in the night.
Yeah.
As opposed to things whose existence is questionable. So
it's your turn. Your choice.
Yeah. Do you have any experiences with Goatman's Bridge?
I do, and I do not care to share.
I went to Goatman's Bridge. I actually spent a good amount of time kind of poking around in the woods over there. I went down by the creek.
You are stupidly insane.
Nothing happened.
Still creepy.
I've yet
never go in the woods.
I've yet to see anything. Yeah.
Never go in the woods.
Stay out of the woods. Stay off the boat. Never get on the boat. but yes, Goatman's Bridge. No experiences there.
Don't stare in the abyss because the abyss will stare back.
Yeah, I believe what you're supposed to do on Goatman's Bridge is you're actually supposed to drive to it and park your car and shut your car off.
And wait.
And supposedly things happen.
Yeah.
Not so much.
So let's change it. Your turn.
Okay. You're like, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I regret this immediately.
You're like, you didn't expect, like, you just thought that the ghost, you had the ghost story version. You're like, your dad was like, Goatman's gonna get you.
Yeah, it's a little kid.
When in actuality, it's a story about a racist hanging of a body that disappeared. Let me see. I will talk about a very famous urban legend. Whereas the Goatman is more of a general, this area. If you don't live here, you probably don't really know about the Goatman's Bridge. I'm going to talk about the woman in white.
Okay.
Also known as the hitchhiking ghost.
Okay.
The hitchhiking woman. For anyone familiar with the television series Supernatural, this is the pilot episode where they hunt the hitchhiking woman.
It was a real urban legend.
It is a real urban legend from this immediate vicinity.
Yep.
There is the lake. The lake is White Rock Lake, and that's right here.
Yep.
You know, we could drive to White Rock Lake right now. We could drive to Goatman's Bridge right now. And the story goes that the woman... I get to tell another story, 2 in a row. The story goes that a woman in her prom dress, after attending a party, gets lost and drowns in White Rock Lake. And from that point forward, and to this day, she still tries to hitchhike on the back roads of that area, trying to get home. And anyone that picks her up, she'll get into either your backseat or your passenger seat. But once you arrive at her house,
she's gone.
She's gone, and your seat is wet. And when you go to the door...
My seat is wet. I need to get out of the driver's seat and clean it.
Because I actually left that out. It's like, she's always drenched. You know, she is a very beautiful woman in a white dress who is drenched, hitchhiking on the back roads by White Rock Lake.
Yep.
And if you pick her up and take her home, she'll disappear, your seat will be left drenched in water, and when you go to the door, you will meet her family, who are real people. This is a real story. You'll meet her family, who will explain to you, yeah, we have this daughter. She died 20 years ago by drowning. This is a legitimate real story. I know,
it's creepy.
I don't know if the ghost story is so much real, but the girl that drowned, that's a real thing. Certainly don't have any experiences with that ghost story. I would really, really like to not have any experiences with... she's called the Woman in White in Supernatural, so that's why I'm calling her that here.
Yeah, but the difference is that she'll try to have sex with you in the show.
The difference in the show is that she is evil. Yeah, she's evil.
Adventurous spirit.
She will kill unfaithful men, but that's because they completely invented
a new part of her.
An entirely new identity for her, as opposed to the daughter who got lost and drowned on prom night.
Yeah.
She was a clinically insane housewife that killed her children.
Yeah.
In Supernatural, after her husband cheated on her, so she's trying to hitchhike the back roads to murder unfaithful men.
Okay, so let's switch to mine.
Yeah, I passed the torch to your second.
No, this one...
I picked that one because it's very famous, and surprisingly for us, it's local. It's right here, and I've known that for years. I just think it's really cool. It's like that story. It's cool to know something like that originated so close to you. You know, like...
trust me.
What if Bloody Mary, what if the legend came from your hometown? It's just neat.
No. Moving on. So mine is the Jersey Devil. It's not local. Obviously, it's in Jersey.
Okay, you're going to have to... I know a thing or two about Jersey Devil, but you're going to have to fill me in.
Okay, so the Jersey Devil is a hairless canine-type creature. It is said that its origins are unknown. There's no real part of it that we know anything about, other than that it is hairless, like the chupacabra.
Mm-hmm.
Cabra. It is...
Chupacabra.
Shut up.
Sounds tasty.
It is hairless. It walks on 2 legs. It's canine-esque, like a demon. It is usually thought of a devil, the Jersey Devil.
Isn't it believed to be the offspring of a witch?
A witch and a dog or a goat.
I think a witch and a demon, but it is dog-like.
Well, a demon that back in the day where it originated was goat head, essentially.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of things like
sometimes
that.
Sometimes it looks like a goat. Sometimes it looks like a dog. It just depends on what version you're getting.
Sometimes it flies. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yes. It's this really creepy, unknown... Like, if a demon manifests itself, that's the Jersey Devil.
Right.
And you want to stay away.
Yeah.
And essentially the story is
no, you don't say. I want to stay away from the demon.
A witch wanted a offspring to teach the child magic. Made a pact with the devil because she couldn't have children with anybody else. Nobody wanted to have children with her. She was a very ugly witch.
Yes.
She was scarred. The demon made a pact, put a child in her stomach. Turns out it was a demon, not a child.
Mm-hmm.
Her child. She raised it. And it's still among us today.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Not much to it. It's just terrifyingly horrible.
This is the Jersey Devil. If you're interested in lore on the Jersey Devil, there's plenty of it out there.
Oh, I know.
And there are plenty of different... One of the reasons we're being kind of vague as far as lore goes, there's so many different...
Endless.
There are different versions of the Jersey Devil.
Exactly.
And I dig that. How there are multiple versions of the same urban legend.
It's not New Jersey. It's Jersey Devil.
Yeah,
There's difference.
Yeah, Jersey Devil. So you passing me the torch?
Yep, you got the torch, big man.
All right, then we're going to move on to our
secondary.
Non-local. The first one was local.
Now we're doing non-local and then fantasy.
Yeah, our second ones are non-local. So the one I'm actually going to talk about is it's kind
Howard the Duck.
It's a cheat. I admit that it's a cheat, but I'm talking about Slender Man. Because
that's a fantasy.
Slender Man, it is fake, but let's be frank, most of these are. Slender Man is, I guess I need to enlighten those who don't know, even though everybody probably knows what Slender Man is.
I do want to say I said it was a fake, but back all the way to Norwegian times, where the Norse mythology,
yeah,
there was Slender. It goes back to that.
Yeah, there.
So I can't say it's fake so much as the modern one we think of as fake.
Yeah, there is the German legend of the Grossman.
Yep.
At least I think that's a real legend. There are certainly. Okay, so let me explain Slender. Blah 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 blah. Let me explain.
That's all, folks.
Let me talk about Slender Man, and then I will talk more about his relationship to urban legends.
Gotcha.
So, Slender Man, for those who don't know, is an entity created on the internet. He's one of the first and most prevalent internet urban legends. But the story goes that Slender Man almost exclusively stalks, hunts, kidnaps, and questionably murders children. This is obviously an embodiment of the fear of being stalked.
Yes.
By something that you can't see or understand. But there are a lot of different versions of Slender Man as being portrayed online. Some of my favorites come from the Marble Hornet series, where Slender Man has a lot of lore related to him. You know, he can indoctrinate proxies, who are humans who become his agents that can act for him.
Which is terrifying.
It's horrifying. I always prescribed... I personally have come up with a theory that Slender Man is directly related to the Rake, because they emit the same radiation. This is an established theory. My theory is that because the Rake emits the same type of fictional radiation that Slender Man does, the Rake, or Rakes, plural, are what eventually happens to Slender Man proxies.
That's terrifying.
Slender Man can cause sickness in his victims that he's stalking, which is the thing about Slender Man, is he stalks you. He can appear independently in film. He can only be seen by who he chooses to be seen by. When he's in film, he can... it's like he's alive in the film. He can move. Each time you watch it, it's different. Stuff like that. Did I mention that he can cause sickness?
Yes.
He can cause insomnia. He can cause people to black out. There are a lot of really...
terrifying.
Yes, it is terrifying. I love it for that. I do love the Slender Man legend, but the thing about it is, it directly relates. For a while, I actually had the theory about Slender Man. It's like, he almost has... He's so beyond our understanding that he's almost got elements of being like an angel, like a fallen angel. There are elements of that. But he also... He has a serious relationship to Fae. Like fairies.
Yes.
Like the evil, terrifying, gonna lure the children away and eat them fairies.
Yeah.
Forget the fact that he's tall, he's slender, he has no face, and he can grow tentacles out of his back.
Because that's not creepy.
Putting that aside, it's like Slender Man is very much an evil fairy or spirit of the forest. And you don't want him to stalk you. But that's where the legend originates from. There are plenty of internet urban legends that are out there. Certainly we know for a fact that Smile Dog is not a real thing, but that's certainly terrifying. The idea of a cursed image.
Yeah.
Like, we can touch on creepypastas real quick. Like, there's Smile...
We'll make a creepypasta episode. Why not?
Because you don't like creepypastas.
I will bear it. I will bear it.
You listen to the Pokemon creepypasta, right?
I regret it.
The one where he's in a coma and everything has a meaning?
I knew that. I regret it. Yeah, terrifying. Everything has meaning. Okay, so...
But yeah, that's Slender Man. You do your last one, and then...
Time for the lightning round, because they're fantasy. We won't get too deep into it. We'll just say 2 we would not want to encounter in the...
Well, I have a very particular one picked out.
I know, but we're going to go something you would not want to encounter ever. Bullet.
Boulet.
Boulet.
Yeah.
Land sharks. No.
I have a funny story with Boulet. It's like the only reason I know what boulets are, the only reason I know how to properly pronounce the name is because my campaign went on a temporary hiatus. And when we went on that hiatus, the cliffhanger was flaming boulets are falling from the sky.
Flaming land sharks?
Yeah, in mass.
No.
Also, so is a flying island, which is also a horseman of the apocalypse. Like, the island is the horseman. It was kind of great. But, yeah, that was the cliffhanger to a short game. Right? That was the cliffhanger to my game when I was playing Lister. That went on a temporary hiatus for us to play Pony Finder.
Oh, God.
Which is,
Okay, it's your turn now. I passed you the torch.
It's Pony Pathfinder.
I know.
Yeah, explain boulets. Explain what boulets are. They're D&D land sharks.
They're land sharks. They're sharks that dwell in Earth. They can move the Earth to the side. They have a couple legs, just like everybody else. 2 back legs, 2 front legs. So, but they can't grab you. They're made for digging through.
Was it sewer sharks? There was a show back in the day which was basically Teenage Mutant Ninja
Sewer
Turtles.
sharks.
I don't know if that was what it was, but it was basically Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with
Sharks.
Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Street Sharks.
I think it was
Street Sharks.
I never watched it, but I do not want to fight a shark in land. That is not natural. Your turn.
Sharknado.
Stop.
The last one that I'm going to talk about is directly from D&D. If you don't know who this is, feel free to Google it for more details, because, frankly, she's terrifying. And it's the big she. The Queen of Sigil, if you want to use the word queen. She is the Lady of Pain.
Don't mess with the Lady of Pain.
Don't mess with the Lady of Pain. She is an entity that in an edition of Dungeons and Dragons where they statted everything, the Lady of Pain was never statted.
You can't kill her.
You cannot kill her.
The gods don't fight her. The gods want nothing to do with her.
You cannot defeat her. She has the ability to maintain a city of her own free will and keep the gods out. All of them. She can keep the entire pantheon. United,
all 43. All 43.
United in unison in an attempt to break into her city, she can keep them out.
Yep.
She never speaks. Her will is incomprehensible, but she maintains this neutral city. And she's described as a cloaked figure capable of flying around.
Yep, and she'll maze you. You come up and try to mess with her, she'll throw you in a maze.
Yep, she will. If you anger the Lady of Pain while you are in the city of Sigil. Also, if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, certainly look into Sigil the City. It's a very interesting campaign setting if you're interested in high magic settings for D&D.
Yeah, very.
Sigil's awesome.
It's raw magic.
She has the ability to, if you anger her in any way,
to maze you.
And she does it for, frankly, weird reasons sometimes. She will drop you in an extra-dimensional pocket dimension, which is a maze.
There's a way to get out.
Not always.
Not always.
There can be a way to get out, and the idea that, oh, there might be a way out, is part of what drives you crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I've got some hope. Hope can drive a man insane.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But she can maze people. She can use the city how she wills. She can open portals as she wills. And frankly, one of my favorite parts is there's a little rumor going around that she might just be 8 magical badgers in a
oh God,
costume.
Stop.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's an entry in a book where they're talking about how there is a rumor that the Lady of Pain is nothing more than 8 magical badgers in a cloak.
Stop.
Seriously.
I quit. No.
And it's not that, because frankly, any entity that's capable of keeping all four, you said 43?
There's something like that, yes.
All of the
I could be I could think 34.
It doesn't matter. She can keep the entirety of the pantheon of gods out of her city.
Yeah, she's all powerful.
That is probably one of the most powerful entities, but the fact that you cannot understand her motives
is the scary part.
Is why you would never want to encounter this thing. Because you could be just minding your own business and mazed.
Did you eat with your left hand? Oh, you shouldn't eat with your left hand.
Yeah, that's what happened.
I know.
That's the exact
I know the Lady of Pain.
And that's how Sigil... They don't. That's how Sigil works. You can be walking down a street in Sigil. It's called the City of Doors for a reason. It's the City of Magical Portals.
Okay.
You can be walking down the street with an earring in your right ear, asymmetrical socks, holding a book in your left hand, and wind up in an alternate dimension. Because
that was the criteria of the portal.
Because that was the criteria of the portal in that location.
Go watch Spoonie. Thou shalt not mess with the Lady of Pain. That's where we got her. Most people get their introduction to Lady of Pain.
Yes.
She's from an older edition, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, she is terrifying and magnificent. But I guess that's all. Thank you, Big Wing Boy, for submitting us a listener question.
Big Wing Boy!
Big Wing
Boy! I'm just weird.
And I guess that's going to bring us to an end today.
This is a long episode.
Yeah, we have well over 2 hours, so we're content, people. Yeah.
Sorry about the tangents, and we're not sorry about the tangents.
Yeah, we're not sorry about the tangents at all. So, yeah. Well, fellow Nerdians, we hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of Levels of Ridiculousness. You can always find our backlog of older shows as well as a new episode of Lore every Wednesday here at NerdDum. I'm Ozpin.
This is DK.
Please like, comment, subscribe, leave a listener question, leave a topic suggestion, tell a friend, and rest assured that you're all always welcome here in the kingdom of NerdDum.
Salutations.
Have a good one.